I am 68 years old now, but the scars from that family betrayal run deeper than any wrinkle on my face. They say blood is thicker than water, but in my case, it turned out to be thinner than the lies my own children told to steal everything I'd built. People often ask me, Eleanor, how did you do it? How did you turn the tables on them after all those years of humiliation? I smile and say, patience, planning, and a lawyer sharper than a butcher's knife. But that's the short version. The full story? It's a 10,000-word epic of deceit, despair, and the sweetest revenge imaginable, one that left my greedy offspring penniless, publicly shamed, and begging for scraps from the empire they thought they'd buried me under. Let me take you back to the beginning, because to understand the revenge, you have to live through the pain. My name is Eleanor Hayes. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. Hell, I wasn't even born with a wooden one. My parents were dirt-poor farmers in rural Kansas, scraping by on corn that barely grew and dreams that never did. I was the oldest of five, and by age 12, I was working the fields dawn to dusk, my hands calloused before they could even hold a pencil properly. Education? That was a luxury. But I devoured every library book I could borrow on my rare trips to town, books on business, real estate, investing. They were my escape, my secret weapon. At 18, I married Thomas Hayes, a kind-hearted mechanic who fixed cars by day and dreamed of owning his own garage by night. We started with nothing but love, a beat-up Ford, and $500 we'd saved from odd jobs. Our first investment was a rundown duplex in Wichita, $20,000, financed with a loan that kept us up nights worrying about foreclosure. I managed the rentals while Thomas tinkered with engines. We scrubbed floors, painted walls, chased deadbeat tenants. By year 5, we'd paid it off and bought another. Then another. It was grueling nights with colicky babies. Our twins, Robert and Rebecca, born in '78, days haggling with contractors, but we built it brick by bloody brick. Thomas passed in 1995, a heart attack at 52. Just like that, gone. I was 42. Left with 2 teenagers, a mountain of grief, and a portfolio of 12 properties generating $150,000 a year. The kids were furious at the world, at me for not saving Dad, at life for being unfair. Robert, the golden boy, dropped out of community college after 1 semester, blaming stress. Rebecca, sharp as a tack but lazy as sin, partied her way through high school and expected me to foot the bill for some vague art degree. I didn't coddle them. Work for it, I'd say. Nothing's handed to you. They resented me for it, called me cold, behind my back. Little did they know, I was forging their futures in fire. By 2005, I'd grown Hayes Realty into a 47-property empire across Kansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. Commercial spaces, luxury apartments, even a boutique hotel in Tulsa. Forbes mentioned me once, the widow who built a Midwest dynasty, but I kept it quiet from the kids. Why? Because I wanted them to earn their place, not inherit entitlement. I set up trusts, equal shares upon my death, but with clauses. They'd get dividends only if they worked full-time in the business for 5 years post-college. No free rides. I poured everything into them anyway, private tutors, cars, down payments on their first homes. Robert married Lisa, a social climber with daddy's money and zero grit. Rebecca shacked up with Mark, a sleazy salesman who saw dollar signs in her last name. The humiliation started small. Family dinners where Robert would roll his eyes at my frugal stories. "Mom, you're such a hick," he'd laugh as Lisa smirked over her wine. Rebecca once announced at Thanksgiving, "Eleanor's properties are cute, but let's be real, without Dad's ghost, they'd be nothing." Mark chuckled, adding, "Yeah, Ma, time to retire and let the pros handle it." I swallowed it, chalking it up to youth. But it festered. By 2015, I was 60, semi-retired, overseeing from my modest ranch house in Wichita. The kids were 37, with their own families. Robert and Lisa had spoiled brats Emily, 12, and Jack, 10. Rebecca and Mark had whiny Sophie, 9. They visited less, called only for loans. I'd wired $50,000 to Robert for a business startup, a failed food truck. Rebecca got $30,000 for home reno a Vegas weekend. Gratitude? Zilch. Instead, whispers reached me through cousins. The kids were bad-mouthing me at reunions. Mom's hoarding it all, Robert allegedly said. Thinks we're too stupid to run the empire. Lisa posted passive-aggressive Facebook rants. Some parents build walls, not bridges. Hashtag family first, hashtag ungrateful much. The breaking point came in 2018. I just closed a deal on a $12 million strip mall in Springfield, Missouri. My net worth? Pushing $80 million. I invited the family for a celebration dinner at my Tulsa hotel, the Hayes Grand, my crown jewel. I planned it meticulously. Private dining room, chef's tasting menu, even hired a string quartet. It was my way of saying, join me. Learn the business. Robert and Rebecca showed up late, kids in tow, Lisa in designer heels that screamed, look at me, Mark nursing a scotch before appetizers. As the main course hit, filet mignon with truffle reduction, Robert cleared his throat. Mom, we've been talking. It's time you stepped down. Lisa nodded vigorously. The company's stagnating. You're old-fashioned. Rebecca chimed in, Mark and I have ideas, modernize, flip properties for quick cash. The kids snickered. Emily whispered loudly, Grandma's hotel smells like dust. I sat frozen, fork midway to my mouth. This is a celebration, I managed. Robert laughed, that deep, mocking bark I'd heard in his teens. Celebrate what? Your glory days? Face it, Mom, you're the help now. Time to hand over the keys. The room spun. Help? After I'd bankrolled their lives? Lisa pulled out a folder, amateurishly printed, proposal for a family takeover. Rebecca added, we've got lawyers ready. Trusts say upon death, but we can contest incompetence. Mark grinned like a shark. Sign over 51% tonight, or it gets messy. The string quartet faltered, sensing the venom. My grandchildren stared, wide-eyed but silent, absorbing the poison. I excused myself, tears burning but unshed. In the lobby, my GM, Harold, a loyal vet from the early days, saw my face. Mrs. Hayes? Everything all right? I shook my head. Not yet. But soon. That night, alone in my penthouse suite, I wept for the babies I'd rocked, the teens I'd grounded with love. Betrayal tasted like ash. But beneath the hurt, a spark ignited. Pro-revenge isn't born from rage. It's forged in the quiet hours, when you realize mercy is a luxury you can't afford. The planning began at dawn. First call, my attorney, Victoria Lang, a pitbull in pearls who'd handled my trusts since '95. Vicky, I said, voice steady, audit everything. Discreetly. She didn't ask why, she knew. Over coffee in her downtown office, I spilled it all. Vicky's eyes narrowed. They're idiots. The trusts are ironclad, no contest without proof of incapacity, and you're sharper than most 40-year-olds. But I wanted more than defense. I wanted destruction. Make it hurt, I whispered, publicly. Step 1, documentation. For years, I'd kept meticulous records, every loan, every snide email, every Facebook post. Robert's business texts begging for more cash. Rebecca's Venmo charges to casinos. Lisa's Instagram stories shading boomer bosses. I digitized it all, timestamped, notarized. Vicky drafted NDAs and addendums to the trusts, any public disparagement, and their shares reverted to charity, Midwest Women's Shelters, in honor of my mother. Step 2, the feint. I played the broken mother. Next family Zoom. They loved those for show. I appeared frail, loose sweater, trembling hands, glycerin tears. Kids, I agree. Maybe it's time. Gasps of triumph. Robert, finally seeing reason, Mom? I nodded weakly. Let's meet at the house. Sign papers. They bit hard. Over the next months, they gloated. Lisa texted Rebecca. I had access via a helpful IT guy I'd hired, old bats crumbling. We'll be millionaires by Christmas. Robert bragged to golf buddies. Word leaked to my network. Humiliation? They reveled in it, toasting Eleanor's exit at country clubs. Meanwhile, I built walls. I restructured Hayes Realty into a holding company, Yates Enterprises, with shell entities in Delaware. Shares transferred to irrevocable trusts for the grandkids only, bypassing the parents. Robert and Rebecca? Cut to 10% non-voting dividends contingent on ethical conduct. Ethical? Defined broadly, no fraud, no defamation. Vicky looped in a PI firm, ex-FBI types, to monitor. They uncovered gold, Robert's food truck failure, embezzlement from my loans. Rebecca's Reno? Funneling to Mark's bookie. Lisa's charity galas? Kickbacks from vendors. Evidence piled like snowdrifts. By 2020, COVID hit. PerfectCover.I isolated, working remotely, selling off, underperformers really consolidating power. The kids pressured, Mom, liquidate. Give us cash now. I stalled. Health issues, I'd sigh. They seethed. Public jabs escalated Rebecca's TikTok. Aging parents cling too tight #toxic family. Robert's LinkedIn. Eager for fresh leadership in legacy firms. The media nibbled. A local rag ran Hayes Airseye expansion with their spin. The Trupp sprung in 2022. I'd planned the signing for my 65th birthday gala at the Hayes Grand, 200 guests, business associates, politicians, old tenants turned friends. Invites framed it as a legacy handover. They arrived smug, Robert in a rented tux, Lisa dripping Botox, Rebecca with extensions and attitude, Mark reeking of cologne. Grandkids looked uncomfortable. Emily clutched my hand, whispering, "This feels weird, Nana." The ballroom glittered, chandeliers I'd chosen, tables groaning under caviar and crab. Toasts began. Robert stood first, to Mom, the foundation, and to us, the future. Laughter claps. Then my turn. I ascended the dais in emerald silk, diamonds from Thomas's cufflinks at my throat. Microphone in hand, I smiled, cold, calculated. Thank you all for coming. Tonight isn't about handover. It's about truth. Screens flickered. Projections hit. Emails, texts, bank statements. Robert's face embezzling $200,000. Rebecca's gambling debts. Lisa's vendor scams. Gasps rippled. What the? Robert sputtered. I continued, voice like steel. For years, you've humiliated me. Called me help hoarder. Plotted to steal what's mine and yours, my grandchildren's. Close-ups, their cruel posts, family dinner recordings, hidden nanny cams. The room buzzed, phones out, live streaming to LinkedIn, Twitter. Rebecca shrieked, "This is defamation." Vicky rose from the front row, folder in hand. No, dear. It's evidence. And per the trusts. She read aloud, revocation clauses triggered. Their shares? Gone. To the grandkids' trusts. Dividends? Halted. You're contesting incompetence. I laugh softly. Try it. We've got psyche evals, board minutes. You're the unstable ones. Chaos erupted. Lisa lunged for the mic. Security, my loyal ex-cops, escorted her out. Mark swung at Harold, tasered. Robert begged, "Mom, please, the kids." Emily, on stage now, hugged me. Nana's the boss. The quartet struck up Sweet Caroline, ironic, triumphant. Guests applauded, not for them, for me. Local news vans waited outside. By morning, headlines screamed, Hayes heiress scandal, greed over family. The fallout? Delicious. Robert's startup collapsed without my backing, foreclosed, divorced Lisa, she sued him for hiding assets. Rebecca's influencer gig tanked, brands fled the toxicity. Mark bolted, she couch-surfed with friends who ghosted. They lawyered up, 3 firms dropped them after discovery. One sued for fees, citing frivolous claims. Public shaming sealed it, Wichita whispers, golf club bans, kids' school taunts. My grandkids? Thrived. I funded their educations, mentored them in the business. Emily interns now, Jack shadows deals. Years later, they crawl back. Robert's apology emails. I was wrong, Mom. Help us. Rebecca's Terry calls, for the kids. I reply politely, therapy first. Then talk. Vicky monitors. One slip and the little dividends vanish too. Revenge isn't destruction, it's reclamation. I walk my properties daily, staff calling Mrs. Hayes with respect. At 68, I'm expanding new hotel in Denver. Net worth? $120 million. The kids? Scraping by on regrets. Some say forgive. I say, earn it. Or watch from the curb as I drive by in the Bentley they mocked.